Are automakers going bankrupt? Well, VinFast has reported $623 million net loss last quarter. So who is VinFast? Well, first of all, VinFast is a company that came to the US stock market through a SPAC, like I believe Lucid came available via SPAC and came with sky high prices. A lot of people got burnt. Well, already people have been burnt by the stock market. In the stock market with VinFast, they're losing a ton of money. So 623 million net loss in the last quarter. That's a 30% increase year on year, despite increasing sales. So VinFast is actually starting to deliver more vehicles. They delivered 10,027 vehicles in Q3 of 2023, and that's up 5.2% from the previous quarter. Almost all of them remained in Vietnam. Only about 137 made it to the US, even though they're on the US stock market, even though US people who invest in the US stock market lost a ton of money with this company. So it's pretty wild though, because when you think about it, this company through a SPAC came in and was worth more than almost all the car companies put together. They're still, and that was when they're worth about $80 some a stock. Now at $10 a stock, they're still evaluated at more than Ford. Electric companies, it's wild the amount of faith that people are putting. Still, they are worth so much less. So VinFast posts $1.4 billion loss, even though they grew their deliveries of vehicles by over 10,000. And why is that? That's because electric vehicles lose money every single model that they put on the road. So let's talk more about that. Rivian they lose 33,000 on every single vehicle sold. In Q2 of this year, so quarter two of 2023, they say they lost $33,000 per vehicle. Now that sounds like a lot, and it is a lot, except for when you're a company that's worth around they have roughly $9 billion in cash reserves. So they've got a lot of cash because they're on the stock market. They collected a lot of people's money, and now they've got a lot of people's money to burn because a lot of people do believe that these electric companies are just going to take over everything. Now, Rivian has brought up production in recent months, but losses of $33,000 per vehicle. That's wild. That is wild. So it's weird. There's this agenda and laws that are pushing these vehicles forward, forcing these vehicles forward, and they're losing money. We're not, when the numbers don't make sense, I think it's just a clear indication that we're not ready for full electric vehicle adoption. Imagine these price increases, these losses, I should say, Rivian losing $33,000 per unit, Ford admitting that they lose $32,000 for every electric vehicle they sell. Why is this? Well, that's because everyone is slowly being forced into selling all EV vehicles because of the carbon tax. Talked about it before. I'll summarize it really quickly. If you're an auto manufacturer and if your fleet average isn't fuel efficient enough, one day soon it's going to be 50 miles per gallon. So if you're not making soon 50 miles per gallon, you're going to have really steep fines. Right now, the criteria is lower, but if you don't make a certain fleet average for fuel economy, you have two people you can pay. You can either pay huge fines to billions of dollars to the government, which no one does. Instead, for less money, they buy carbon credits from the likes of Tesla, their competitor, making Tesla post wildly great profits, making it so that they can lower the price of their vehicles, making them more competitive and making them more deadly. It's like you're paying your enemy for guns, but you're paying a lot of money for those guns so that they can then go buy tanks. And you're like, well, now we have guns, but now they have tanks. So this corporate warfare is going quite badly for people who still have high fuel consumption for their fleet average. And that's why there's the death. These are all signs of the death blow to V8s. And we'll get to that with the GMC Jimmy story in just a moment. But these are the type of laws that are killed off any chances of having a V8 Jimmy or a V8 Bronco. A V8 Bronco isn't financially viable, not because the V8 itself is expensive to make. It's because when you sell too many vehicles that aren't making near 50 miles per gallon, it costs a lot. So you have to make huge profits on the vehicles. And this is why we've also seen huge price increases on trucks. Trucks are big and heavy. No matter what you put underneath the hood, they're going to consume a lot. So you have to charge a lot. That's why the prices, in a good portion of why the prices of trucks have gone up so much, is because of these laws, because of this agenda to create less CO2. I won't go any further into that because we don't do 2-hour shows anymore.
I guess we'll do that tonight.
So yeah, Ford originally thought they'd lose $2 billion per year from the EV venture, then $3 billion. It's going to end up being probably $4 or $5 billion that Ford will be losing on EVs this year. So Ford has to make that money up somewhere. And it's not because Ford is dumb and Ford is, silly for thinking that EVs are the future. They're right. EVs are the forced future. This is why we're losing our petrol-powered vehicles. And individuals are losing a lot of money, thinking companies like VinFast should, thinking it makes sense that they're worth more than almost all the current car companies combined, and that even people at $10 a stock still think it's worth more than Ford as a company. Their evaluation is higher than Ford. And, they're working towards hopefully producing 50,000 vehicles per year. There's a lot of... It's wild. EVs are incredibly fast. They give us incredible speed. But I don't know if speed is the drug we're all desperately willing to do anything to have.